Do you share the worries that doctors have about the reluctance to present at hospitals because of the fear of the virus, because they think that hospitals are all about the virus?
I think there is a combination of that. I think obviously people have just been hearing wall-to-wall COVID-19. There may be a fear in going to hospital, or there may be a misconception. You know, there are people who think their GP practice is shut. No, the doors are shut, but actually the GPs are there. So you can still phone your GP. If you're ill, you should still go to A&E. You can still dial 999.
Yes, and we'll come on to 999, but particularly on the question of the reluctance, that parents are very reluctant to take their children to hospital for a whole variety of reasons, and we saw examples in the film.
Well, I mean, that's obviously something that we don't want to see with regard to serious illnesses. There are often people in A&E with minor things. Obviously, children who are out and about will fall off bikes and trampolines. There'll be less of that. But if parents are concerned, you know, even if they have phoned NHS 24 or 111 and they're concerned about their child, they need to phone back. If people are ill, they need to seek help. The NHS is still here.
The NHS is still here, but also the worry is that people have is that they don't think it's safe to go to hospital. They don't think it's safe to take their children to hospital.
Well, in actual fact, the way most hospitals are laid out at the moment is they have what they call red and green areas, and they're keeping the normal emergency departments green so that we're not having patients with COVID all over the hospital. There's a lot of effort going in to try and avoid cross-infection.
Was the messaging good enough that actually A&E and acute care is still open for business?
Well, I don't think there was any intention to diminish the normal messaging. I think naturally, well, I think at the beginning people were finding their way to this. I think it's a message that we should certainly be emphasising now, that you're not just being put in a ward with people who have COVID. If you've got a different problem, absolutely all the hospitals are working to maintain separate streams of patients, and therefore the aim is to avoid cross-infection.
Should there be a separate COVID line, do you think?
Well, obviously you could look at doing something like that. One of the issues, I think, is that there are some people who are presenting with COVID who don't just have a cough and a fever. They have slightly other symptoms. And so someone may ring up NHS 24 or 111, and actually the person on the other end kind of goes, well, actually, I think you might have COVID. But you want to have that you have the capacity there to try and answer the calls in good time.
But if you don't, as we know from these emails, it is a matter of life and death, and there have been some terrible tragedies. What some paediatricians are saying is there needs to be a national campaign, particularly for children, for parents to know that they can dial 999, head straight to A&E if they can't get anything quick enough on 111 or indeed through the practice.
I think that applies whether it's children or adults, because I think we are hearing similarly of people with stroke and heart attacks not coming forward quickly enough. So I think it isn't just children. I think it's across the board. We need to emphasise, how does this NHS that looks different, how does it work? How do you make contact with it? And to not be stopped. If you really think someone is that ill, you can go to A&E and you can dial 999. And people should do that if they're concerned about someone in their family.
Philippa, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.